All right, Shelley, we have some breaking news coming in about 10-ish minutes ago. Graham Plattner is dropping out of the Senate race, which is giving now Maine Democrats enough time to schedule a special kind of meeting to now vote another candidate to push through to try to get rid of, not get rid of, but try to outvote the current representative.
Susan Collins. Okay, that's breaking news. Plattner has suspended. Thank you, Trent. Plattner has suspended his campaign, so that he denied the rape allegation as well. So he's suspending his campaign, suspending his Maine Senate bid. We will keep you up to date on that breaking news. Thank you, Trent, for the breaking news. Plattner suspends Maine Senate bid and denies rape allegation. That's big news. So we will keep you abreast of that up until 9 o'clock to see what happens next. Is there going to be an election? Are they going to pick somebody? What happens next? I want to talk about what's happening with on social media. Now, if you may not have seen this, but I think it's instructive to talk about and to let people in on something that's going on social media. So the story is a young man, Xavier Wells, was with a group of friends. He played football at a Mississippi community college or a community college, played football, and a bunch of he and some friends went to an island, a small island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast, right? And they're all white, and he was the lone black kid partying with his friends. He went missing. They later found his body a couple days later, and the family has confirmed that he was found dead. Now, the investigation's still ongoing. The last I heard coming out of that area of the country was that there was no foul play suspected. This is what I was reading. Just what I'm seeing. But they're still investigating. All the kids, they did find his phone with the kids. The kids came back to the island came back to the mainland without him. So that's the general story, right? I talked about it the other night. We don't know really what happened, trying to find out what happened, right? So that's the story. So now there's a growing number of people on social media, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, all over social media, warning young black kids not to hang out with all white kids. And they're adding to this. The story is in Cumming, Georgia, right here in Cumming, Georgia, an African-American woman had an adult slumber party with her neighbors, and she was found dead the next morning. And so obviously the people that think like this think that there's always some nefarious reason. So now people are steady going on social media, teach your black men not to, it's just, and it's crazy to me. That kind of talk is crazy to me. First of all, it's crazy to me because we live in an interconnected world, right? We're connected to each other. We're connected at work. We don't live in a segregated society anymore. So you have diverse work friends. Your children go to schools with diverse people, black, white, Hispanic, straight, gay, everything in between. I mean, the world is diverse. To tell a group of children to only hang out with the people that look like them is dangerous. It's dangerous. First of all, you create a social ineptness in a young child's mind that they will never outgrow. They're also growing up in a world, as I just said, that's so diverse. It's kind of counterproductive to teach your children that. But let me talk about myself. I grew up in Harlem, New York. My mom was an absolute genius, Valerie G. Winter. She was a genius. I grew up in Harlem, an all-black enclave, right? And all my friends, my family, everybody I saw on an ongoing basis were all African-American. The people that lived in the co-op building that I grew up in, there was a banker in there, there was a postal worker, there were retirees. There's a gamut of socioeconomic backgrounds, also educational backgrounds. The apartment that was above me in my co-op building, there was an Episcopalian minister who's married to a Mexican woman. Like, that's how diverse my building was in Harlem. When I went to school, I went to private school. I went to St. Bernard's, where I was one of 2 black kids in my class. When I went to Riverdale, I was the only black male in my graduating class in high school, and with 3 young African American women. Right, so my life was filled with different people all the time, and I can't tell you the number of times I might have gone to someone's summer house for the weekend. Well, I was the only black kid. Can't tell you the number of times I went to bar mitzvahs, I went to parties, I hung out in Central Park. I was the only black kid. And it never occurred to me that my life was ever in danger, because these were my friends. And I don't see this young man, Mr. Wells. These weren't kids that he just met the other day. These were not kids that he ran into at the store, and they said, "Hey, a bunch of us are going to the lake. You want to join us?" And he said, "Yeah, I never met you before. I'll go." That didn't happen here. And in my growing up, these are my friends. I spent the night at their homes. They came to my house in Harlem. Like, these are my friends. Never once did my mother even think to herself, maybe my son shouldn't hang with these white kids. Never once. If anything, I grew up in a town where it was, rather my son hang out with the white kids. And that's where we have it now. How could anybody with a straight face go on social media and tell young African-American kids not to hang out with white kids? That's nuts to me. That's just nuts to me. Why would you do that? Is it just to make waves? Is it to get clicks and views? Like, why would you do that? Or for 2 cases? Yet you have hundreds of cases of black kids killing other black kids, and it doesn't make any sense to me. I can see you going online and saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm moving my kid out of the hood," or whatever. My kid participated in the teen takeover at Lenox Mall. I'm pulling him away from all of his friends so he doesn't get arrested. I could see that. But off of this one case and a case incoming, that's what we're doing now? And you're doing it to your children? I'd like to believe this is a social media phenomenon, and it's not something really going on in the homes of African-American parents, where they're telling their kids, "No, I don't want you to hang out with the white kids anymore because of this case in Mississippi." I would like to think that this is not happening, that it's only on social media. Because if it isn't happening, if it's happening in real life, it is sad in 2026. Really sad. And you're shortchanging your children. Like, really shortchanging your children. The Shelley Winter Show. We'll be right back.